well. And now we call on the former House Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Pablo Garcia, to give the contra side. Please.
Thank you, distinguished Chairman and members of the Joint Committees of the Senate, distinguished resource persons, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to begin by stating the inconvenient yet fundamental and compelling truth. Unless and until the Constitution is amended or revised by the Filipino people, Congress cannot and should not enact the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law. In other words, for the present and before such amendment or revision, the Bangsamoro Basic Law is palpably and incorrigibly unconstitutional. And I'm sorry to say, very sorry, to all whom it may concern, that the filing of this bill in Congress is a needless and futile exercise in futility. The constitutional infirmities and transgressions of the Bangsamoro Basic Law can be classified under two categories. The first is on the legislative empowerment or capacity. And the second is on the substantial provisions of the Bangsamoro Basic Law in relation to the Constitution. I shall discuss only the first category, that is on legislative empowerment and capacity, which I consider under this category the most formidable and insurmountable obstacles to the passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law. The first obstacle is the total absence in the Constitution of any express and specific grant to Congress of the power and authority to create a new and different territorial and political subdivision or entity other than those authorized and recognized in Article 10, local governments of the Constitution. Let me explain. The 1987 Constitution has authorized and recognized only 5 territorial and political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines. Only 5. Namely, provinces, cities, municipalities, barangays, and autonomous regions. Section 1, Article 10, local governments of the Constitution provides, Section 1. The territorial and political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines are provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays. There shall be autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras as hereinafter provided. It will be noted, distinguished honorable chairman and members of the Senate, that after the phrase autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras, nowhere in Section 1 or in the other sections of Article 10 referred to in the as hereinafter provided, is there any mention of any other political entity, much less the Bangsamoro, which may be authorized and recognized as component territorial and political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines. To carry out the mandate to create the autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras, the Constitution tasked and specified the first Congress elected under the 1987 Constitution to pass the organic acts for the two autonomous regions. Not any other Congress, but only the first Congress elected under the 1987 Constitution. And the first Congress was given 18 months from its organization to pass the organic acts. Thus, Section 19 of the Article 10 provides the first Congress elected under this Constitution shall, within 18 months from the time of organization of both houses, pass the organic acts for the autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras. The first Congress referred to, elected under the 1987 Constitution, was actually the 8th Congress. Now it is the 16th Congress. If we reckon from 1946 after independence, this Congress served for 5 years, from 1987 to 1992. And in all humility, I was privileged to serve in that Congress. The first Congress, elected under the 1987 Constitution, which, as I said, was actually the 8th Congress, within the time frame of 18 months set by the Constitution, passed Republic Act 6734, which is the Organic Act for the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and Republic Act number 6766, or the Organic Act for the Autonomous Regions in the Cordilleras. To the Constitution mandated 2 autonomous regions. But the question has been asked from time to time. After the passage or enactment of the 2 organic acts as mandated by the Constitution for the creation of the autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras, may the Congress, meaning the Congress after the first Congress, or the 8th Congress, create other autonomous regions in other parts of the country. For example, can Congress create the autonomous region for the Ilocos? Can Congress create the autonomous region for Bicol or for the Visayas? The resounding answer, Your Honors, is no. No. Congress cannot create any other autonomous region in other parts of the country other than the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras. There are the reasons. In the first place, the Constitution has authorized or empowered only the first Congress elected after the adoption of the Constitution or the 8th Congress to pass the organic acts for the two autonomous regions. Secondly, the language of the Constitution is clear that only two are to be created. Thus, there shall be created autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras. And thirdly, and this is the most important, from the records of the Constitutional Commission, the intent of the Constitution, as reflected in the discussion during the Commission, is very evident. In other words, the constitutional intent that only two autonomous regions can be created is as follows. I know. Thus, Father Joaquin Bernas, an acknowledged authority on constitutional law. And not only that, he was a member, a distinguished member of the Constitutional Commission that drafted our Constitution. According to Father Bernas, thus, only the Cordilleras in the extreme north and Muslim Mindanao in the south are given the distinct privilege of forming autonomous regions. To the question whether Congress could create autonomous regions other than for Mindanao and the Cordilleras, the clear and categorical answer was that, and here is what is more important. The clear and categorical answer is that any other area which wishes to become an autonomous region should seek a constitutional amendment. Bernas, Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, Volume 2, pages 388 and 389. But the opinion of Father Bernas is borne out by the records of the Commission. Thus, we find the following from the records. Father Bernas, before we vote, we were voting on the resolution on Article 10 of the Constitution. Before we vote, may I ask one clarificatory question? The President of the Commission. Commissioner Bernas may proceed. Father Bernas, is it then the sense of the committee that besides recognizing the Cordilleras and Muslim Mindanao as autonomous regions, Congress is prohibited from creating other autonomous regions? Here is the answer of the chairman of the Committee on Local Governments, Mr. Noliedo, Commissioner Noliedo. Yes, Madam President. I said that we are adopting the Rodrigo observation during the caucus, that if there should be other regions aside from Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras, which would like to create themselves into autonomous regions, they should seek a constitutional amendment. They should seek Father Bernas, they should seek a constitutional amendment. Mr. Noliedo, yes, Madam President. Volume 3 of the records of the Constitutional Commission, page 373. Commissioner Noliedo, as I said, was the chairman of the Committee on Local Governments who sponsored on the floor of the Commission the resolution on local governments. The Bangsamoro political entity, or the Bangsamoro, is a total stranger to the Constitution. It would be a new legislative creation that is vastly different and distinct from the autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao or the ARM. Section 1 of Article 6 of the Bangsamoro Basic Law provides, Section 1, asymmetric relationship. The relationship between the central government and the Bangsamoro government shall be asymmetric. That is reflective of the recognition of the Bangsamoro identity and their aspiration for self-government. This makes it distinct from other regions and other local governments. So, the Bangsamoro political entity is distinct from the territorial and political subdivisions recognized by Article 10 of the Constitution. And now, to the burning question of the day, and the most crucial issue now confronting Congress. Does the Congress possess the power and authority under the Constitution to create the Bangsamoro political entity that now, under the Bangsamoro Basic Law, seeks to distinguish and differentiate itself from the autonomous regions and other local governments units identified and recognized under Article 10, and thus effectively excludes itself from Article 10 of the Constitution. So, to that question, whether Congress has the power and authority and even the competence in the first place, the jurisdiction, to create the Bangsamoro. This is one question where the answer is not only probable, but it is inevitable. And here is why. The answer is, of course, a resounding no. No. No, no, no. Congress cannot and should not create a new and different, which is outside the Constitution, territorial and political subdivision of this country. Congress is a creation of the Constitution. It cannot operate outside the four walls of the Constitution. Since it has been demonstrated unquestionably but under the Constitution, Congress does not even have the power and authority. Nay, it is even prohibited from creating another autonomous region in other parts of the country, aside from the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras, without a constitutional amendment. Reason, it stands to reason and logic. Nay, plain common sense dictates that the Congress does not have any power and authority whatsoever to create the Bangsamoro, an entirely new political entity that is vastly different and distinct from that of the constitutionally mandated autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao and in the Cordilleras, and which even proclaims itself that it is distinct from the autonomous region and other local government units recognized in Article 10 of the Constitution. The second and the second formidable and insurmountable obstacle to the passage of the Bangsamoro Basic Law is that the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao is a constitutional creation. It is created by the Constitution. And as such, it cannot be abolished and erased by legislation from the pages of the Constitution in order to be replaced by a complete stranger to the Constitution, which is the Bangsamoro political entity. According to the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law, Section 5, Article 13, after the ratification of the Basic Law, the arm shall be deemed abolished. This is because the two cannot coexist, the arm and the Bangsamoro. They have the same geographical area of jurisdiction and the same constituencies. In short, one should have to disappear from the scene in order that the other can appear to take its place. But the intended abolition of the arm is easier said than done, Your Honors. In fact, it cannot legally be done at all. The arm, as a constitutional creation, cannot be abolished by mere legislation. That's a principle. In the same way that Congress cannot abolish by legislation such constitutional offices as the COMELEC. Can Congress pass a law abolishing the COMELEC? Or the Ombudsman? Where is an Ombudsman law? Can Congress abolish the office of the Ombudsman just by repealing the Ombudsman law? Or the COA or the Civil Service Commission, which are creations of the Constitution. In the case of the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, its creation, its powers and functions are set forth in several sections of the Constitution. Section 1, Section 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 21. 8 sections in all of the Constitution. These sections shall remain as written by the Filipino people on the pages of our Constitution and cannot simply be erased or established or obliterated by Congress, and to be carried as dead letters or dead sections in our Constitution by just an act of Congress, as the Bangsamoro Basic Law. As we repeat, Congress is a creation of the Constitution, just like the office of the President or the Supreme Court. And cannot repeal and nullify a mandate of the Constitution. The Constitution mandates there shall be created within the framework of the Constitution and the national sovereignty, as well as the territorial integrity of the Philippines, the autonomous regions in Muslim Mindanao and the Cordilleras. Can this mandate be repealed and nullified by Congress? It has been said that the spring cannot rise above its source. We have had 3 constitutions: the 1935, the 1973, and the present 1987 Constitution. We do not include the Freedom Constitution. Yet, from 1935 until now, no one can point to a single article, section, or paragraph of any of these constitutions that has been repealed or abolished by legislation. None at all. The Constitution is a living and vibrant document, ageless and timeless, and every part of it must remain relevant and inviolate until the Constitution is amended or revised by the sovereign will of the people. On the question of whether of the 5 political and territorial subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines as authorized and recognized by the Constitution, which I repeat, provinces, cities, municipalities, barangays, and the autonomous regions, can be abolished by Congress. Again, Father Bernas, in his book, Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, says, thus, the constitutional significance of Section 1, which enumerates these territorial and political subdivisions, is that provinces, cities, municipalities, and various now barangays have been fixed as the standard territorial and political subdivisions of the Philippines. To this, the 1987 Constitution has added the autonomous regions. This manner of subdividing the Philippines cannot go out of existence except by constitutional amendment. Cannot go out of existence, meaning cannot be abolished except by a constitutional amendment. And yet, lamentably, the Bangsamoro Basic Law is asking that the autonomous region recognized autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, authorized and recognized in the Constitution, should be abolished immediately upon ratification. Never mind the Constitution, that sacred document to which all public officials of the land, whether elective or appointive, from the highest to the lowest, have taken a solemn oath. I do hereby solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines and bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Your Honors, may I conclude with the following parting thought. It has been said that there are moments when every man or woman, or moments in the lives of every man or woman, when they are called to certify, to seal with their action what they believe, what they have sworn to, and what they preach. Such a moment has come to the men and women of the 16th Congress of the Philippines. The Filipino people hope and pray that they will all so certify. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker Garcia. It is now 12 o'clock.